All right, guys, we are back for another Dokkan Battle video. Here we go. We got another hint, or this pretty much narrows it down, right? And so they gave us the first one as movie bosses. I guess I should just quickly pull this up. The first hint was movie bosses right here, and the second one is pure Saiyan. Now that is going to lower our list of characters down to Broly and Turles. That's it. But I mean, I guess there is two movies of DBZ Broly, and then there's obviously Dragon Ball Super Broly. But based upon what Metal Cooler is like, I would say it has to be Turles. It has to be Turles. Dokkan in 2026, their team building has been very tight. They've done a really good job with kind of fleshing these teams out, making them strong teams, respecting the main Dokkan Fest, giving them good setups to run throughout the course of the celebration. Now, every celebration starts and people are furiously upset because they don't immediately just create the team second one of the celebration, right? Like it's not our first second play in the game. We know how it works now. So I think LR Turles here makes a ton of sense. Especially because we also do know Turles is on here. I felt like Cooler getting a super easy and Turles getting an easy made a ton of sense here. Also because keep in mind, we still have several weeks until Tanabata / TDC starts, which I believe is going to be on the 30th, right? So we still have several weeks to go. Typically kind of like a main, source of content that Dokkan usually would drop is, kind of like a major Easy 8, like during a week, right? Like, the term Easy A week is something that, like we've been able to say many times before, right? So, okay, so the hints, movie boss Pure Saiyan, again, it's only DBZ Broly, DBS Broly, or Turles. I think it's got to be Turles is what we're going to be looking at right here. Physical Turles is also on the banner. So I think, again, we will see him easy A. Now, what's going to be interesting about this guy right here, before we start talking about like what LR Turles might look like, is what are they going to do with his intro, right? So remember, his intro is very powerful. And keep in mind that this is something that they can buff. Remember, the only thing right now that they can't upgrade or change when a character easy A's is an active skill or standby. Active skills and standbys, as of right now, cannot be changed, right? So this is going to remain exactly the same, which most times is just going to be 6 turn from the start of battle. But if we've got a Goku family enemy, it's going to be, turn 3 that will be able to use his attack, right? I think, remember, Metal Cooler, he is a nice support. And I think it's going to be very easy to kind of just run him, right? Like, they dropped King Cold, who is a nice, old types, terrifying, essentially going to be like a terrifying conqueror type support, right? Remember, Super Easy A Cooler, he also has movie bosses support for a couple of turns. So all of a sudden, the team is going to be filled up nicely with essentially... Here, hold on. So we have... Let me get Cooler. So it's going to be Cooler, King Cold, this guy, and this guy. That's 4 characters right there that we're just getting from this celebration. Then we'll have the Part 2 LR, which is a 5th character, right? So essentially the entire team is just built up just from this own celebration. I'm not really too sure what I want from this guy besides, if they could just allow this to trigger, what would be a good way to do it? I don't know. So they could keep this exactly the same, and then, or if you're running a full Terrifying Conqueror team, something like that would be fine. I think some condition like that would probably be pretty sick. Just something to allow him to get that intro, which is ridiculous, right? This will give him so much value to the team, right? Crazy to think that this guy had this 3 years ago It's just, remember, when they dropped him, there were not Goku family enemies all over the place for us to fight, right? Back in 2023, at the time, the hardest fight was Sin Shenron. And then, what, like a month later, a little bit, like about 2 months later, Omega was the hardest fight. And then eventually we got the Dismal Future Red Zone. But there just was like no relevant Goku family fights at all. Like, it just wasn't a thing for that part of that celebration, right? So that's something to keep in mind. So we'll see what this guy is going to look like, right? Also keep in mind here, so he's there on the banner. There is a mission here to easy a character. Now, super easying Final Form Cooler. This did not activate this mission. It doesn't activate this mission. Needs to be an actual easy A. We've never seen them do a mission like this, but then not provide the character to do this. I believe there was a time on global when they did global exclusive like missions and stuff leading up. It might have been the 8th anniversary or something where there was a mission like this, but there wasn't a character to actually trigger it. But that's like, I don't like, we've not seen that on JP before, right? And that was just like again, global exclusive missions. So I'm you know, physical Turles is definitely going to easy A. So that now takes us to looking at what Turles might look like. So remember, this is Team Turles right here, the LR Turles that we previously had. Remember, this guy isn't on Pure Saiyans because it's him and the entire kind of like Crusher Core right here. So, I mean, this could be pretty good. With Turles having the fruit of the Tree of Might, I mean, that could be like a very interesting like healing type ability, which he has right here, right? Remember, Metal Cooler is a crazy healing character as well. So it's like we really, I think, could have a nice little kind of like potentially like healing team. So like, I think I would really like this LR Turles to just be very defensive, I think is the way I would like him built. And I do think that like, especially, it's not going to happen in this celebration, I think, but keep in mind, we are closing in on the EZA for LR Final Form Cooler and LR Metal Cooler. Those two characters are definitely going to be easing at some point, maybe in GDC, maybe TDC. I think those guys will be saved more for like a big celebration, because I don't... The other thing, too, is we've never seen Dokkan Fest exclusives and carnivals on the same banner, right? Even like a little extra in-between banner. No, maybe we have. Let me double-check that banner. Did we? Or were they all carnivals in that one banner? I'm thinking of the banner during the 2nd anniversary, the one that we hated that shouldn't have existed, because they just took characters who, you know, Easy 8 and Super Easy 8 in the celebration and put them on a separate... This one right here. Oh, yeah, I guess they all are carnivals, huh? It's all carnivals and Yellow Coin LRs, yeah. So, I mean, if, like, let's say that, oh my god, so crazy, you know, the week of June 15th to 19th or something like that, or the 22nd to the 26th, you know, they easy LR Metal Cooler and LR Final Form Cooler. If they would do that, it would be 2 separate banners. Remember, they're not on a banner or anything. So that's why, like, it makes way more sense, I think, for them to get their EZAs during a major celebration. GDC, probably the target. And there's a lot of anticipation for them, too. So now we are kind of, like, really moving into a potential good situation with all these powerful, terrifying Conqueror characters. LR Turles is going to be one, Physical Turles, all of these guys. Plus, don't forget, we still have, you know, Goma, Deborah, and a lot of these other strong, terrifying Conqueror characters. Remember, like Vegeta and Nappa and some of those characters are also on Terrifying Conqueror. So it's like we really are set up for villains to be a crazy team if they lean into Terrifying Conquerors with TDC or GDC, right? Like, it's looking super good. So, Turles, I think he could do a domain right here. I think it's been a frequent thing where, like, too many villains have had domains, but we don't have, it's not like, that's been a problem when there's, like, multiple of them fighting for a team, right? Or, like, the Dragon Ball Super 9th Anniversary Broly, who the domain was his transformation, right? So, it's like, we are not fighting for domains right now. So, like, Turles getting, like, a Tree of Might domain, I think could probably be pretty nice, and especially if it buffed like terrifying conqueror characters. And then just think of the sheer amount of support that like so much of the team is going to be giving itself, right? This is what modern Dokkan teams are doing nowadays, where all these characters support. We just have so much support flowing from all directions, right? It's really crazy. So we got the support right there, potentially from this guy, maybe LR Turles. It's hard to say because Turles is also a pretty popular character. Well, I mean, at least the games love using him because he does look like Goku. Like that's definitely what it is, right? Because he just looks like Goku, right? So it's like, you know, before Goku Black, Turles is who we had. So I'm excited. Now, I think the LR, we're anticipating it around the 11th, right? So we're probably still a few days from details, but I mean, we'll keep an eye out, right? Like we are, like it is not that long of a turnaround, yeah, because Metal Cooler still feels fairly recent. Now he's going to get this big buff with Turles. I think Turles is a good pick right here, because it's a character that doesn't mess with King Cold's condition, right? Android 13 looked like he was a real possibility, but remember, I mean, Android 13 would fuck with this condition right here, right? And then remember, Metal Cooler himself, it's movie bosses or Wicked Bloodline, right? This is something to keep in mind with Metal Cooler moving forward, right? Is he does specifically need those two. So his synergy's not the greatest when it comes to Deborah and Goma, but those two characters are still just so powerful, right? So looks like it's gonna be LR Turles, chat. Here's the teams. Yeah, let's see like what is LR Turles on. So it's Beerus and Metal Cooler are the two Turles 220% right now. Pretty much the last two Dokkan Fest exclusives. That's funny. So, all right, guys, let me know what you guys think of Turles looking like the Part 2 LR. We will see. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch y'all next time.